So gritty realism in Dungeons and Dragons specifically changes a long rest from a 1 hour to a week. Now, if you try to play the same type of game and you put the gritty mechanics in there, it doesn't work. It changes the balance of everyone. All of a sudden, it favors short rest characters versus long rest characters, the whole 9 yards. However, that's the entire goal. The goal is not to make those encounters feel better, it's to make the encounters you have feel more weighted. Meaning you have the same amount of encounters per long rest. You have between 3 to 6 encounters of a certain difficulty level. We stick to the adventuring day. The adventuring day, again, is the time frame between those long rests. In both gritty realism and standard play, there's no difference. So the balance doesn't change. It does not favor short rest mechanics because the encounters are fewer in a given day. It could be multiple encounters through the week. So in the games that I play, you may have 1 or 2 encounters in a day, but then you'll have a week of downtime where you get to do things. You get to actually craft items and those kinds of things. And we don't necessarily role play every day, but that's part of the game. And yes, the bad guys go through those week-long episodes as well. And that's also where you're sending out scouts and doing your tactical things and trying to figure out information and doing research. All of that is happening on your long rest, which you're taking a week to heal, to get better, to those kinds of things. And if you need a long rest, there are things that can give you the benefits of a long rest with complications in order to keep you going. And sometimes that's what's needed in order to keep the mission going. As a dungeon master, there are balancing concerns on both sides. On the regular standard amount of play, if you don't have there be consequences for them taking a long rest, here's the bottom line. If your players are in a dungeon, you let them long rest and nothing happens, they can long rest all the time if there's no consequences for that time to pass. The thing is from a long rest being 8 hours to being a week, it feels different. And that's the whole purpose. Gritty realism is the term, the title of actually taking a long rest that takes a week. It is a different story. It is telling the story in a different way, where length and time and that kind of things, the time frames are longer. There's more downtime. There's more figuring things out. There's more research. The world is not crumbling as of today. It does take time, and troop positions may move over weeks, not within days. And so it functions more realistic. And I use realistic really low key here, but it's a different story. And I think that's where most people get frustrated with gritty realism, is that it's still balanced. It's still the same amount of encounters between long rests. There's no difference in the mechanics of the game, but you are telling a different story. Do not take gritty realism and slap it on a standard game and expect it to go well.